Hey everyone, Gurky here with Exis, bringing you another King Arthur Legends Rise video. This video is going to basically be a global launch guide for new players coming in. We're going to talk about some of the do's, some of the don'ts, some of the tricks, tips and tricks and everything we've learned along the way. Alright, so we're going to start off with one of the most important aspects of the game. We're going to talk about gear. Alright, and this is my opinion. Other content creators may have a difference of opinion, but as you'll see here in a little bit, I've made way too much progress, and I have a lot of experience in the game. So the first tip is going to be don't level crappy gear. And what I mean by that is you don't ever want to level up or waste any of your resources on leveling up gray gear. Okay? So you have gray, green, blue, and yellow. Alright, so when you go to a piece of gear, let me go down and see if I have any cheap gear down here. Alright, so when you get green gear, alright, the amount of substats that come with the gear are based on the rarity of the gear. As you can see, this green piece has a main stat and a substat. This blue piece right here has a main stat, 2 substats, and then the legendary has a main stat and 3 substats. Okay, when you're leveling green gear, okay, the very first enhancement, like if you see this, the very first enhancement is going to go to the stat that's already there. Okay, so if you're going to level green gear, it's my recommendation that you only level it. Let me find a piece that has something halfway decent on it, right? All right. Well, I mean, we're never going to use a defense set with crit right, right? But as you can see, it's main stat and 1 substat. So if I go over here and I enhance it +3, automatically going to get the bonus to that substat. All right. Now, if you enhance it again, you're going to get a new substat. The green gear is garbage. Okay. And the star level, just all that has to do with is the maximum amount your stats can roll. So hit accuracy. Okay. Might want it, might not want it. Okay. But if you're going to do it like this, the best way to do it is to get your first stat off, all right? And then when you go over here to your blue gear, it's fine. This one right here, even on a drain set, it's great. So if you +3 it, it's going to go into one of those 2 stats both times. It's +3, crit strike. +3 again, crit damage. Then when you go +9, you're going to get the next substat. Blue gear is perfectly fine to raise to max level. I mean, I honestly think you should probably stay away from the 1 and 2 star. But if you're trying to, push a little bit, it's okay. But green gear, 1 stat. Gray gear, don't touch it. And one of the other things I'm going to explain here real quick, especially with blue gear, right? So let's say, let me find a piece that has 1 good one and 1 bad one. Oh, sometimes they can, this unyielding right here, is effect resistance. Each piece of gear can roll a bonus substat as well. Let me try to find one that's not unyielding real quick, just so I can show you guys real quick. All right, see, solid gives you an extra bonus of defense. That's information that most people don't know. All right, let me find a piece of gear that has, okay, so this has 1 good piece, 1 good substat, and 1 bad substat. Now, there's a limited quantity of these dust items that let you change a substat. So the best way that you can utilize them is you don't want to go into a piece over here. Like you see on the left, I'll have the defense percentage, but the rest of the gear is fucking perfect. You don't want to go in there and touch that. You don't want it because it's random. So what you do is, on this, you go over here, you go to change stats, and you have these dusts. So if you use the dust when there's only 2 of them here, you can kind of cherry pick your first main stats. I'm going to probably butcher this one, but see, I got defense percentage and HP percentage. You have a better chance of rolling 2 main stats that you want, or main substats that you want, by doing it this way rather than leveling it up and then getting the bonuses later, because there's a higher chance that you're going to screw the gear up. Okay? Now the next part of this gear, it's my recommendation that you don't forge any gear except what I'm about to show you until your buildings are at level 10. Your castle's at level 10. Mine's at level 11. The amount of resources, the wood and the steel that you need to progress to 10 and past 10 gets extremely high, and you also use these same resources to forge. So it's my opinion that you should get your castle up to level 10, and all your other buildings to the equivalent level of what your castle is. So like my fountain, my fountain's at level 6 because I got my castle to 11, so it might be 5 and 10, right? But you're going to go over here into the forge when you open up crafting. In my opinion, until you have your buildings set to where they should be and where you want them, the only set that you should be crafting is the Vigor set. This set, for all intents and purposes, for when you first craft it, can have shit stats. We don't care about the stats. We care about the Vigor battery. We care about allowing other units to use their skill 3, their skill 2, and never have a shortage of Vigor. So it's a 4-piece set. My opinion would be to craft the left 3 slots as 3 of the 4 set, and then pick one of these 3 and try to roll a good substat. If you have a little bit more resources, you're probably going to want to, so like on your ring, you're probably going to want to get attack speed. Now it can roll attack, defense, HP percentage, and speed. In general, speed is going to be the best substat for the ring, unless you're trying to build your main DPS up, in which case attack would probably be better if you can get a couple attack speed substats on there. Okay, but other than that, you don't want to forge or craft any gear until you get to a point where you're comfortable with your resources, because it takes a lot of resources. If you go in there and you build, 2 sets of Vigor, so you can cherry pick, or whatever, you build like 15 pieces and make a set out of it. It costs a lot of resources, and you will be behind on your building levels. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is building your core team and working on your core team first. Okay, now it seems to be that right now the meta core team is going to be Bedivere, Merlin, Morgan, and Gillian, or Gillian, however you want to pronounce her name. So in general, that's the core team. That team will get you through 95% of all the content. There's a couple pieces of content where you might need Lot or another unit to help with CC, or so on and so forth. And then there are specific units that you're going to want to build for your dungeons, your farming. But as a core team for story pushing and everything, this is generally the best. Actually, in my opinion, this is the best team. I've talked to Shredder and a couple other people that hang around Exis, people that have spent money, people that have played free-to-play. This is the core team. It is not a free-to-play team, though. Okay? So Bedivere is your main DPS. So we're going to talk about some of the other characters you can level for different pieces of content in a minute. But let's talk about options, okay? So, for Bedivere, an alternative option could be Ban. He did get nerfed, but he still does enough damage to where he can clear content. You have Rozier and Anguish. Rozier, once you start getting her chivalry levels up, I believe are going to be better for normal content than Anguish. Anguish is a boss killer. He puts a lot of dots on there. He has the ability to increase the damage from dots, and other things that go along with the dots to build him up. Another alternative for a damage dealer, which seems to be the most popular one, would be Kay. So depending on which relic you have, real quick, I believe she starts off with the wind. So she attacks all 4 enemies. Attacks all enemies 4 times. She has a high damage output. This one is 196% at base for single target, and then her fire is also puts the recovery disruption on a unit, which we'll get to in a minute. Okay, so So for the second part of the core team, now Merlin can't be replaced for what he does, but he is probably the most interchangeable member of your core team. Okay, he puts a debuff on an enemy that gives your characters attack gauge recovery. He has an AoE freeze. he's a very pivotal unit for progressing, but he can be changed out. Probably the easiest out of the other three. You want to put some sort of CC in for him, or attack gauge increase, attack decrease, some sort of control to help your team out. Okay. Now Morgan is free. She's not really replaceable for most of the content in the game. She does a attack gauge decrease. She puts what do you call it? Let me find it here real quick. Her S2 does an AOE, reduce attack gauge by 35%, goes up to 45%, hits multiple times. And then this one right here, her third passive, when using a skill, inflicts defense decrease 2 and defense taken increase 3 for 1 turn. She's basically probably the best unit in the game to set up for just straight up hard nuking. One of the units that you could possibly replace her with, if you actually, I'm not even going to talk about that. Like she's the best for her role. Anyway, Gillian with her Frost Relic is, in my opinion, the best healer in the game. As far as modifiers, healer, survivability. But if you don't have Gillian, there are some options, okay? We're going to skip over Isolde. I don't even know where she's at. Or a healer. So the options we have for a healer, I use Clementine. Clementine got me through the entirety of hard mode. Okay, and then I switched over to Gillian. Turin is a very, very good healer, but she excels, I believe, at night. And one of the better choices, suggested to me by Shredder, because of the entirety of her kit, would be Sarah. So these are other options you have for your healer. Okay. Now we're going to talk about some of the other characters that you should be looking out for, that you will level at some point or another, probably sooner rather than later, because they have different applications in the game. So beginning to mid game, this is going to be your main unit for Gorgos. Okay. If you get Merlin and you have Merlin built up, or if you build Isolde up, you can replace Jarrett with those units, but he is the go-to for Gorgos. He completely eliminates all the dots. There are some 3-man Gorgos teams with Merlin. Isolde is another really, really good champion. I might as well mention her now for Gorgos. In the beginning, the ideal team up until when you start level 60 in your units, honestly, is probably going to be just Merlin, Anguish, Jarrett, and Isolde. You can replace some of those units, but Merlin has an ability to where he'll make your units immune to dots. Those are 2 units to look out for. I already mentioned Merlin. He's part of the core team. Anguish and Rozier. You will not go wrong leveling either or both of those units. It's part of your core team or for dungeons. Dungeon bosses have a very high HP pool, and bleeds and chills take off percentages. So, it's not a static amount. So the higher the HP, the more damage they do. Again, Morgan, this is going to be one of your main characters throughout. It might even, depending, like 98% of the game. Okay, Clementine, Turin, Sarah. Okay, there are some other units that have some application. We have Akalon right here. Akalon is probably one of the best units for Aldry, because he has the recovery disruption on his S2. Although I believe she has it as well, doesn't she? On her S3. But Akalon has a cheaper cost. I believe, no, it's not him. Anyway, another unit to look out for. I think people are sleeping on this dude. It's Ralph. Ralph can carry you as far as you want him to. Okay? His S3 deals damage to all enemies. That's irrelevant. He immediately goes again and does to enemy camp, gives to battle. It gives attack 3 increase and hit accuracy 3 to everybody on your team. That's 80%, 80%. And if you do it a second turn in a row, it's 160, 160%. If you can put a vigor set and have good vigor management, you will keep 160% damage and 160% hit accuracy increase for the entirety of the fight. That is the highest damage debuff or buff that I've seen in the game, is 2 attack increase 3s. Keep an eye out for him. Okay? Cormac's another unit that's great. Yeah, well, great in certain spots. Sigrun is pretty much the top unit for applying marks on the first gear dungeon. This unit right here, Alan, is used for high-level Tarrasque. And, you know, this guy as well, he's good for putting on marks. So these are some of the units that you should be looking out for. You want to work on your core team, and then you slowly build the other units according to the content you're currently doing. Okay? All right. Let's talk about something else that's pretty important. Stamina. Okay? Your stamina refreshes over a certain period of time. When you level up, you get a full stamina refresh. It does not overflow. So please keep an eye out on your stamina, because what you're going to do is you're not going to want to be doing stages that cost 6 stamina. You know, when you're close to full and you're going to level up, you're going to want to go in and do a stage that costs, you know, 14 stamina or 18 or whatever the max is. You're going to want to min-max it a little bit, where you're going to lose a lot of stamina. So let's say right now my stamina cap's at 236. I have 222. If I was one battle away from leveling up, I'd lose literally 200 stamina. So what I would do is I would go and I would do, you know, one or two stages until I'm about to level up, and then I would go do a 3 run that would cost me 54 stamina, and then that would be 54 more stamina I would get when my account levels up. It's just a very important note to watch out for. Another thing, Arena. When you open up Arena, whenever you have free time and you're bored and you don't want to do anything, go through and do Arena. There's a reason why. Rewards. Every single time you rank up, you get 200, 200, 2, 3, 3, 3, blah, 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 all the way up to Master, where you get 1,500. This is a one-time reward. You're not going to make it up to Master in a day or two. It's not going to happen. However, every couple of rank ups you get, you're going to open up one of these, and these are hands down the best packages in the game. Platinum 5 Celebration Package, 1,500 gems. I get a 10 pull, 1,500 arena coins, and 250 stamina. These are the best packages in the game. And they open up every couple. It was a grade 5 and grade 3, or grade 5, grade 2, whatever it is. And when you get to a certain point in climbing, the rewards that you get, the one-time rewards, are enough to pay for these. There's literally hundreds of rate ups. 30, 40,000 of the arena coins. There's like 200 or 300 of these stamina cases. Like, there's a lot of shit. So when you have free time, go in there and just bum rush the arena. Spend half an hour, 2, 3, whatever, however much time you have, spend on the arena. If you get to a point where you're just not winning fights, go progress, come back. But you want to get those first time rewards, because you want to get those packs. It's going to help you progress your account, especially with summons and stamina, tremendously. Another thing that was in one of my other guides: come to the market, clear it out every day. Free refresh, clear it out. When you get to a higher level and you start needing less materials, then you can cherry pick, like the rare star seeds and XP potions. You won't need those eventually. Uncommon mana worms, you just won't need them. But things like the relic breaths, the polishing powders, the rare tombs, it's a gold mine in there. Okay. Now we're going to talk really quick about Clan Raid. It's closed right now because it's 3 weeks on and 1 week off. The most important thing I can tell you in the Clan Raid is, in the beginning stages, go for the body, kill the body, help your clan move to the next tier of enemies. Because even though you can kill the arms and the tails and stuff to get more points, it is completely negligible in the lower stages. Completely, right? If I were to, I would say start chipping away at the arms and tails and stuff before the body, somewhere around raid level 15, 16, 17. Okay? Once you get up there, and you can throw everything you have and get 10, 15, 20, 30 million points, do it. But make sure you clear out the main body and kill the bosses first. That is the most important thing when it comes to the clan raid. Okay? Now, real quick, let's talk about... Let me do my real quick summary. This is kind of important. First and foremost, pity does not carry over. We all learned that the hard way. I'm sitting at 60. I won't touch this until the new raid up banner comes out on launch. If you're not going to be able to hit pity, and you don't mind rolling the dice, summon on it. Does not carry over. Another very, very important thing. This button right down here, I made a video about it. This is where you're going to go, and this is where you're going to try to get your alternate relics for the units that you're going to be using. Because some of the units, they have better skills on different relics. Check out our other video about that. I'm trying to wrap this up. All right. How to progress. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to go to main story. You're going to push main story as hard as you can, as far as you can go. You're not going to worry about 3-starring everything. Not yet. Every single one of these stages has materials that you're going to need somewhere along the line, so you're going to come back for them anyway. Push the story as far as you can. Unlock as much of the content as you can. Once you start to get stuck, don't wait until you're beating your head against the wall, but once you start to get stuck, come back out here, go to Adventure. Adventure mode is free. There's tons and tons and tons of rewards out here. There's all these rewards right here. This is how you're going to get the chivalry levels on some of your main units. Then another thing over here at Chapter 7, they start giving the legendary ones. Is it 6? Oh, 5. All right. Do Adventure. Okay? Once you can't do story and adventure no more, go tweak. Go in there, tweak some of your gear. Go over here to the dungeons. Run Plane of Beast, Penviad. Get your orbs. Run Burning Land. Get your gold and your experience potions. Aldry. Get your relics up. Shrine of Storms, this comes a little bit later to awaken your relics. Go back and forth. Story. Right? Story, main story, adventure, dungeons. Main story, adventure, dungeons. And eventually, when you open up the favorite dungeon, all 6 of them we open up, I believe, for the first week. And Sealed Temple. Get your 5 Sealed Temple runs in every single time, no matter what. This is how you level up your character skills, your passives, and your relic skills. And that's pretty much it. You're going to bounce between story, adventure, and the dungeons. That's pretty much the cycle. Go do arena when you're bored, etc., etc. If you have any questions, ask. We have a bunch of guides. Check them out. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.